again. I figured a change of venue would be in order for this video. So I'm downstairs in the front room. The light's a bit better here. At the moment I'm assessing my current situation. I have no idea when the jackals will return, or if they plan to at any point soon, but from what I know of their behaviors, they're very utilitarian. They prefer to solve 7 problems instead of 1. My best guess is their move was intended to not only test me, but to test their opponents. They had ingratiated themselves as the force of stability and control in the region. With their presence gone, it'll send this location into a bit of chaos. It's already affected the markets a bit. Prices have gotten pretty insane for most things, although very uncoincidentally, things that I require, their prices are mostly stable, a little higher by 20%, but much less so than the prices for other things. Gray water, of course, is way more expensive than it used to be, because the jackals were the main producers beforehand. So now, other producers are trying to control the market. And until any one can stand above the others, the price will still be much higher than it should be. What all this means is I will have to behave as if I already am Jackal, even though I haven't been accepted yet. If they're watching me, and they very likely are, as the highest ranking person in my company, even though it's just me, I would have to take over command and then behave as a commander. Meaning I have to design my own ops, execute them, and record failures and successes. Gather resources, build weapons, garner agents from the field, all that sort of stuff. This could very well be their intent from the start. It seems especially likely, actually. What better way to test an agent if they're ready, especially if you have to push them harder than regular agents, than to force them to behave as if they are in command of a force of their own. With limited resources in a hostile environment where they are with very limited allies and options. And so, I've been avoiding it, but it's necessary to speak about Eastmere. I've put his name in a few descriptions, and I let him use as much of the channel as he desires, so that we can much easier come to a fair amount of discourse, although it's difficult, seeing as though he's very much a creature of the deepest, darkest parts of the deep well. Most likely, he was part of the price in exiting the door to the deep well. When you enter, there is a price, and when you exit, there is another price. When I entered the deep well on my first journey, I knew there was a price, but I didn't care, because I had the conviction to complete a task. even though I didn't understand how much toil and turmoil that task would bring me, but it also guided me towards the jackals. They were the only ones willing to help me to the degree that was necessary, because it furthered their own aims, and they also respected my conviction. Me being the first human to physically go to the deep well of my own choice and my own volition. What I learned there, what I thought I would find, was a singular being known as Torn. That's not how operators work. Torn is the name of the cluster of operators that was assaulting me as a child. They share traits that are inclined to a singular personality that it's difficult to describe them. It's technically hive-minded, but not really. When you eliminate a member, you actually weaken the group much more than you would a person in an organization. It's as if the one that had most troubled me was essentially the greed and lust of that cluster. And when I killed it, much of their motivation for anything other than my end was also destroyed. It's like if you could kill the emotion of a person that is also itself a person. That's what I did. And in the end, I had no option. I had to kill every last one of them, even though some of it was stuff that no one would want to do. I started that war, and I had to end it. Well, they started it by coming after me, but when I went after them, they were already done with whatever they had attempted to do. I didn't know that at the time, but I wouldn't have ever learned it had I not gone to the deep well. I say all this because people seem to think operators are the worst we can encounter here. This is incredibly incorrect. I've been to the deep well. Operators tend to be here because here they are strongest. In the deep well they're at their weakest. And there are things from there that do not experience any change in their level of strength no matter where they are. And even if I had not gone through the door, it still is the door. It's still able to be traversed from either side. But the thing most people don't know is that humans work the way operators do as well. Except here we're at our weakest. And we go to the deep well, and we're at our strongest. It doesn't seem to work the same way in the gates, where not stronger than we are on Earth. But in the deep well, we have power that we usually do not. And somehow when I was there, I picked up something, some remnant of some other creature. It attached itself to me, nestled, and waited. When I came back through, much like operators, it was suddenly stronger now that I was back on Earth. And it grew, it hatched, it became whatever. Sorry about that, camera trouble. So, that creature that was in me, it went through a metamorphosis, and it became Eastmere. And as our connection grows, it is essentially that power that I use is Eastmere itself being expressed. I can barely understand it myself, but it's both part of me and another thing, its own creature. And we respect one another because we can feel how we think about each other and how we think about the world. It's exceptionally strange, I will give you that. But it doesn't feel incorrect. And I can feel how much he does not want to go back to the deep well. So at some point we will have to separate. There is stuff there that I have to get back to. There's just no other option. But there are things here that I must do as well. So while I am here, while I'm building myself, while I'm becoming accepted into the Jackal, I'll have to find a way to make a life for Eastmere on Earth before I can go back. If I can figure any of this out, of course. This is a whole nest of problems. But that's what humans are for, figuring out problems and then solving them. So that's what I must do. And usually people are afraid of this, but this is just my life. This is how it is. If I were afraid, or busy being afraid, and locked in that fear, I wouldn't be able to fix anything. I wouldn't be able to progress or to move forward. And that's not going to help me, and it's not going to help Eastmere, it's not going to help Bramble. I have to be more. I have to do more. And I do have to go. So it has been nice chatting with you. You stay safe out there.